Hi, I'm Brian Taylor, General Manager of Atlantic Solutions, and we're making this video to explain the Autopilot chlorine generating system. If you'd like to see an example of how this system works, we have another video on our website where you can actually see the cell in action. These are the components that would make up the system that we would install at your facility, and I want to explain how each of them works. This is the digital control system. This plugs into a standard receptacle, and it controls all the chlorine production and settings for your system. It's very user friendly. It has a digital display, and you can set everything that this unit does from there. It also will indicate if something's not operating properly and give you readouts of everything that's going on with your system. It connects to this system, which is your manifold, which is comprised of the chlorine generating cell here, which is wired into your brain unit. It has a tri-sensor that's in this manifold that measures flow, temperature, and salt levels, and also has a clear check valve to prevent the chlorine concentration from flowing backwards into your system. This unit's mounted on your wall in your existing circulation and filtration system. Inside of this chlorine cell, if you want to get a close-up of it, there's a series of parallel set blades, usually of titanium or similar alloy. It runs an electrical current through them, and that's what actually creates the chlorine in this unit. We do that by putting a level of salt in your pool that's not detectable, but is enough to create the chlorine when it passes through this cell manifold. Is there any questions about how this works?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I take care of a facility pool. It's about 100,000 gallons, and a couple questions. You just dump that salt right in the pool, or you have a feeder or something?
You take the salt and you place it in the pool. It's a one-time addition, and you maintain the dosage of it through your season. Anytime you do excessive bath washing, splash out, of course if you empty the pool to paint it or plaster it, you would need to reintroduce it. But yes, there's only one addition of salt, and like I said, it's a low enough level that you won't be able to have a detectable amount for your bathers.
Now you're saying though that like that thing right there is going to take care of a 100,000 gallon pool.
This unit here, unlike residentially, what we do with these systems is we plug in bather load, gallons, and water temperature. It's very important in a commercial application that you know your bather load. Most people that actually install these units install in a residential model, which is based on gallons. In commercial, it's very important that you factor in bathers, because that's who's actually creating the need for the chlorine. So in your pool application, for instance, we would type in the data, and it might tell us that we need 3 cells. So instead of, as you see it here, what you would end up having is 3 of these systems interlinked to a control system and sub-power units. But we can size to any size system that you have.
How hard is it to learn how to run all this stuff?
Oh, well, outside of this creating the chlorine, your water chemistry stays the same. You're still creating chlorine the same way you would, like for instance, you probably use an erosion feeder, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so an erosion feeder, you put tablets or sticks in, you have to bring the bucket out, pour them in there. Great, that's how we've been doing it for years. This chlorine is produced here. There are no more sticks, there are no more tablets. So all you're doing is hitting the button on the unit, telling it how much chlorine you want to produce. It's producing in a consistent and safe manner, because there's no ebb and flows of erosion, if you will. And let's say you have that pool party. You had 60 screaming collegiate people in there. You hit this button on this unit, it will superchlorinate for you. For any limited amount of time, up to 24 hours that you want it to run, it will double the production of your normal chlorine production.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm the manager at a top resort here in the area, and one thing that I really want to know is what's it going to cost us? We have probably a 200,000 gallon pool at our facility.
Well, what we do is we would first ask you how many bathers do you have on a given 24-hour day. And we take your 200,000 gallons, we take your average bather load that you give us, we take the water temperature, the highest it could possibly be during your season, we put that into our system. It will tell us you need this many cells and this many control units. And so it's all going to depend on your bather load. But what we will do is we give you a customized quote that tells you exactly how many cells will be in that system. The other thing that you should factor in mind is These units, when you install them and put them in your pool, your operating cost to recoup off of a system purchase, which is probably pretty important, is about 3 years. So in 3 years' time, you will start saving the money that you would normally spend on chlorine and shocks and things of that nature, plus you're taking it back to a much more user-friendly application.
We don't have to handle the chlorine.
You don't have to handle the chlorine, everything is done right here, and then your application would be done right here times however many cells there were.
Okay, let's have this, say on a busy Memorial Day weekend when we have this huge party planned up. The system stops working.
Okay.
What happens then?
First thing that's going to happen is this unit, let's say in your application you have multiple cells. The best part about this unit is one cell fails, the rest of the cells are still operating. It does not turn your system off. Only that cell that's gone bad or has an issue on it will shut off. So you'll still be chlorinating. In every installation of these, we still put in a backup erosion feeder just for that case.
Oh, well, that's good.
But we are a warranty repair center for these units. You will get an indicator right on the box. It will give you an audible alarm and an LED alarm. You call us, we come out, you're back in operation. We stock parts.
And what is the warranty on that?
The warranty on these units is 1 year, labor and materials.
Okay. How about liability issues? Anything that we should be concerned with there?
The only liability issues, we get this question a lot, is how much is this power going into the chlorine cell? This is nothing more than a low voltage chlorine cell. That's no more than what you have in all your pool lights that are already connected to your pool. It's chlorine, it's contained here. So all the chlorine being made in this cell is inside your plumbing. You're not opening a chlorinator to have this big odor come over you. You're not going in there and having sparking electricity. It's happening in here and it's happening at low voltage.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one more question. I got one of those erosion feeders, and that I use that. I think they call it trichloro or trichlor. Yeah. Anyway, that thing, my pH is always like really low. I mean it's a constant nightmare.
Okay.
How does this affect my pH?
Well, that's a good question. Trichlor is traditionally it's a very low pH product. Any of your sticks or your tabs that are made out of that are very low in pH. And so you will have that tendency where you will start having to run more of your alkalinity and pH adjustments. In this technology, this chlorine is also very low pH because it is pure chlorine that's being produced. The difference is it's being produced in a more consistent and accurate manner. So let's say you set this unit to create 1 part per million or 2 part per million, whatever you want it set at. This is going to consistently deliver chlorine rather than an erosion feeder where the only control you have is the adjustment knob. So you're just running water over raw chlorine, so you're not really picking how much you get, you're just setting it to give you enough. This will give it precisely enough. Plus the salt content in the water tends to have an opposite effect where you will have a slightly raised pH and alkalinity that you'll have to monitor through small doses of acid.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
All right. If you guys want any other information on this, visit our website and give us a call. We're here to help.
What is your website, sir?
www.atlanticsolutionsnc.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.